Hello. I know it's getting later in the day, so thank you so much for listening. So at Chute, we talk a lot about the visual revolution. So we as consumers are actually not just consuming more content than we ever have, but we're actually creating it, right? So if you look around with all these devices, these amazing cameras, this amazing technology, well, in reality, we're all broadcasters now, right? With our own tools that we're carrying around in our pockets. There were over 1 trillion photos taken last year. How many of these were relevant for the story that you're putting on air, for your brand, for your publication? Well, in our experience, an awful lot of these photos, actually. The hundreds of millions that get uploaded every day to Instagram, to Twitter, to Vine and WhatsApp. And what's incredible about this visual revolution is how rapid it's actually been. So just a few years ago, we were writing long-form blog posts, and we were writing all of our thoughts out on Facebook. And of course, we all have a lot of friends that still do that on Facebook. But we're now too lazy to tweet. Now if we have an experience, we're just snapping in a picture, and we're hashtagging it nom nom, and we're moving on with our day. And it's an interesting and fascinating phenomenon. And with the rise of apps that are specifically created to share these fleeting moments, like a Snapchat, we've actually seen the medium cause the content to be created, which is actually an interesting facet of this revolution. So what do we do at Chute? Well, of those trillion photos that were taken last year, we actually find the ones that are relevant for your brand or for your story or for your message, and we ingest it for you. We capture it. We help you organize it and manage it. And we find it anywhere. We find it on Facebook, and we find it on Twitter, and we find it on Vine, and we find it on Instagram. And then really importantly, we let you get consent to it, because that's actually a really difficult part of this process. And then ultimately publish it anywhere you tell your story, from a banner ad to a billboard in Times Square. So in terms of sources, we talked about a few of the social sources. What's really interesting about Chute is that we can actually pull in your APIs and your RSS feeds, and we can pull in the professional content you're actually creating and let you manage it in this central dashboard. And of course, one of the things about enterprise workflow is that it's actually somewhat challenging sometimes. So when you're a brand and you have a very specific brand image that you're cultivating, or you're a news organization and you're looking for just a specific photo or video to enhance or buttress your storytelling, well, sometimes there's several people involved in that process. So you could have an intern or an analyst taking the first crack at photos and videos that are coming in. That can go all along the workflow, and you can actually have legal involved as well. And we set all of that up for you inside of our dashboard. But one of the questions that we face a lot is, well, how do I use this content, right? I'm a big brand. I have 10 million photos taken about my brand if I'm Nike last week, or 20 million photos in the last month if you're McDonald's. Well, how do you actually leverage that, right? Because my legal department's telling me I can't use any of this stuff. Well, Chute is the only scalable rights clearance platform that works with social networks natively. So let me give you an example of that. So here's Coke. At an event not too dissimilar to this one, though I would say perhaps a little bit more consumer-oriented, the Essence Music Festival, where they were telling people, hey, tweet your photos or Instagram your photos to Coca-Cola, hashtag it with this specific hashtag that we've set up for you, and we're going to pull that content into our happiness wall. Right? And so what they did was they moderated all of this content up in our dashboard. They chose the things that they wanted. And what we would do is we would leave a native message on that platform. So for example, this user gets a message from Coca-Cola saying that, you've won or you inspired us. We want you to be part of our happiness wall. And isn't that an incredible moment for that consumer, when one of their favorite brands is actually reaching out to them? And we can do this at scale for dozens or hundreds or thousands of people that are engaging with your brand. We ran a campaign with Starbucks called Sip Face, where they said, hey, we're going to take advantage of the selfie movement, right? Word of the year last year. And we're going to say, take a picture of yourself enjoying one of our Frappuccinos. Hashtag it Sip Face. They got tens of thousands of photos coming in all summer long. And they'd choose the ones they wanted. And they'd say, hey, from Starbucks, we love your content. We want to use it on our sites and social channels. If you agree, please reply. So what do you guys think, if anybody can venture a guess, what do you think the response rate was for this? Do you think they got over half the people to respond? How about 60%? 70? 85% of the people that got this message responded affirmatively to Starbucks. And that was absolutely incredible. Almost nothing that they do has this kind of engagement, and people loved it. So this was the end result. A cascade of people sharing their moment and being famous, brought to you by the brand. And they loved it. So to wrap up here quickly, Chute can take this content, clear consent to it, and let you publish it everywhere. On your mobile apps, on your website, in a billboard in Times Square, and even in an ad unit using Chute ads. Thank you so much for listening.